When did you start this tour?
We started it in the 2015.
Okay.
Yes, that's when we started the tour. It's been such a success, and I just sat down and prayed like crazy about it, and got some pictures together, and just started walking. So we're headed to North Union Street, right across the street at where the Park Center building is. That's where Sarah Johnson was discovered.
Okay.
And Sarah Johnson is the icon that came through the Underground Railroad and wound up in Olean. She was deeded a house on Irving Street. She was responsible for helping a lot of the ancestors of the people who live here in Olean. She had come a long way from Maryland, all the way from Maryland. And let's see, and I had the numbers down for a second, how long that was.
Sure.
How far that was. But in order to run away and in the dark, not knowing where you're going, except that you are paying attention to that North Star. And she said, when it was cloudy, she followed the geese, where the geese were going. Yep, yes. And to do that, and that took a lot of courage. That took a lot of determination. That took a lot of hunger for freedom. Yeah. So we're going up to the Olean house, which was the Martin's Inn back in the day. Judge Martin, he had an inn with stables and stuff, and it was wooden like most of the places, Well, there's a story about Judge Martin. For one thing, there were some enslaved people who ran away, and they were in the back of the Olean house, Judge Martin's Inn, and they were eating, and the bounty hunters came and looking for them, looking for anybody, like that. And Judge Martin wouldn't let them in. And in fact, he said that he sent them on a way that wasn't the right way, be it buffalo or whatever. And when the bounty hunters realized that they've been tricked, they came back. Now, take in consideration that this was when the fugitives, I'll say fugitive, but they weren't, fugitives was sitting and eating in Judge Martin's Inn. He said, no, they're not here.
And this is at the corner of West Green and South 3rd Street.
Yes. This is the church that when I came here, that was my first church. That's the AME church. Right now it's Epic Church, part of Epic Church. This has a history of its own. It was on 5th Street, and the church burned down, and then it was on another street, I think it's 7th or somewhere down, and then it burned down there. So then they built it here, and people of all races were here to help build it,
right.
And this is where it stayed. I tell you, one of the when I think about the telling of Black history, I remember sitting on the floor around with a couple of my siblings. My Aunt Gladys. You know about Langston Hughes?
Yes.
And yes. Well, and Paul Laurence Dunbar with the dialogue and everything. She would recite some beautiful things on Paul Laurence Dunbar and Langston Hughes, and it just lift your heart right up. You recognize that. And I remember that. Yeah, that's what I try to show people, how to pass things on. We have to pass it on. Yeah, you don't want to be lost. Like I say, that if you don't know your history, now I'm situating myself. Okay, I hope you're ready. No, that's okay. You don't know your history. You're like this. There's a tree. You're the tree, and there are no roots. And what can you relate to? You got to know your history. You got to know that this is not just a church. This is not just a building. There has a history to the building. that I'm not just a person, a little old lady with gray hair walking down the street. I have a history, and my photographer Dallas, he has a history, and you have to know that. And once you do that, you treat people differently.